Can you get closer to the microphone?
Against all properties associated with file number 25070 and 250-269 regarding Diamond Farm property. The document I have that I just submitted into evidence also has 6 attachments, and I would like to have those all put in as evidence. These massive campuses need to be reconstructed in areas which do not interrupt the life of residents, wildlife, our ecosystem, and our environment, of all natural resources. Firm and tough regulations and restrictions need to be established and in place for data centers. Solar farms or wind farms are allowed to even begin construction. This project has been pushed or being pushed too fast through by the developers' demands. This is a list of the few of the many questions which need to be addressed before any final decision is determined. Are the developers and owners and users of these data centers going to provide protection or compensation to the residents of Franklin County when something goes wrong, like lithium batteries catching fire or diesel fuel leaks into the aquifer, destroying our water source forever? This aquifer supplies water not just to Missouri counties, but beyond, out of our state's borders. Water is not an unlimited resource. What type of mandatory regulations are going to be put in place to protect the people, wildlife, ecosystem of the Merrimack River Basin? What environmental standards are currently in the contract to remove hazards regarding air, water, soil pollution, or contamination? Who will be responsible for monitoring air, water, and soil pollution on a regular, consistent basis? What hazard evacuation plans are currently in place when a disaster happens? Are they using 24/7 carbon-free energy to supply these data centers? Currently, what financial responsibilities are being required from Provident data centers and its owners and users on this site? What utility requires responsibilities will be placed upon Provident, the owners and users of the facility, to pay for their own electric and their own water upgrades and their monthly usage bills? What about the taxes? We're taxpayers. We pay our taxes on time every year, and we pay our monthly utility bills of electric and water. They are the multi-billion-dollar companies, and they need to pay their own bills. What about families in which the data campus is right next door? Their house is set within 50 feet of the property line. All setbacks to be utilized and standardized as 1,000 feet. I hope that you will continue to read the rest of my testimony.
Thank you for your comments. Amy Knott, Gary White, on that.
Thank you, Amy Knott, Robertsville. I'm opposed to this rezoning because under the proposed zoning change in file 260036, data centers would be a permanent use in a zoning district, and this would fundamentally change the character of the current neighborhood. As the planning and zoning staff report on this file notes, according to Article 14, Section 321, any such change must promote the health, safety, morals, comfort, and general welfare of Franklin County by conserving and protecting the property and building values, by securing the most economical use of land and facilitating adequate provision for public improvements in accordance with the master plan adopted by Franklin County. A rezoning to allow an intensive industrial use such as data center does not meet these standards. The area surrounding the site is primarily residential, agricultural, and natural areas. Such industrial uses will lower, not protect, property values and reduce, not promote, the health, safety, comfort, and general welfare of Franklin County. I also just want to reiterate the comments I made earlier on file 260036, covering how the county's public hearing process has not complied with the Missouri Sunshine Law. These meetings during the day, a work day, or all-night meetings are not permissible to meetings to the public. Also, the proposed regulations require data centers to comply with the Missouri Public Service Commission rules that adopted the Ameren Mark Road required no matter what Franklin County says, because it's already a PSC rule. What is missing from the proposed regulation is a requirement that data centers purchase clean energy from Ameren, known as the Clean Energy Rider, that was also adopted under the same large load tariff rules. The Clean Energy Rider is optional, it's not required. Providence is not publicly committed to buying clean energy from Ameren. Ameren recently stated that it's signed contracts totaling 2.2 gigawatts of electricity. That's the size of the Labadie coal plant, with more data centers on the way. Ameren's already planning for 6 gigawatts of new gas-fired generation plants under the 2025 Integrated Resource Plan. And so with more data centers coming on board, that means running Labadie coal plant at higher rates for longer than its current retirement date, or both. So at this point, it's unknown where all this new gas generation is going to be built. Utilities generally like to build them near the load. So if you're inviting data centers to Franklin County, you're also very likely inviting new gas generation plants. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. We have Gary White, Dan Hayden, Jessica Devereaux, Gary Watson, and Nancy Watson on that. Gary White.
I have voted yes. Hi, Julian. I'm opposed to the rezoning of the properties, both of them, heck, all three of them. I'd like to talk about this deal, and here's what it sounds like to me. Mr. Schatz, I'm gonna buy your house. You have to agree, but I'm not gonna disclose the terms or the price or anything. Are you in agreement? Of course not. You think I was crazy. Why would you agree to this deal if you didn't have any details? So how is the public and our government body supposed to make a decision as big as a data center without all of the facts, disclosures, environmental studies? I mean, how can you do that? What's the cost? What are the benefits? Are there any? How can you make an informed, educated decision without all of the details? I mean, can I buy your house and not tell you how much I'm going to pay for it? Sure, I'm sure you'd agree to that. So, where's the public input? I mean, people have left because this is dragging on, just like the planning and zoning. By the way, I stayed till the end. It's crazy. So there's urgent concerns being raised, lots of them. Have you heard them? Are you listening? Or do you not believe us? Because it's not us. Look at that stack of papers. Will you be reading them? Do you think AI will take your jobs? I'd be concerned. Because you could end up with no job and a data center in your backyard. How would you like that? How about I make that decision for you? Where you don't have a job and you have a data center in your backyard. Are your grandkids going to be proud of you for that decision? I don't think so. And by the way, air pollution doesn't stop at the property line. Anybody thought about that? Neither does noise pollution. It travels. Light pollution travels. The water, gosh, let's just talk about the water. Everybody's talking about the water, right? What about the displacement or the death of the endangered species? You put these big concrete buildings in. I think that's pretty sad for them because they can't talk to you. Like, there's a lot of people missing from this room that were here earlier because this just keeps dragging on. You have the power to stop
and make the meetings for a different time, a different day. Will you do that? What are the pros to the data center? I've heard all the comments. What are the pros? Are there any? Ask AI. AI says AI.
Thank you for your comments. Jessica McDermott.
Thank you, Commissioners, for having us. I wish after work I could go home to my two kids, my daughter that's 10 and my son that's 8. Today is their first day off from them because of practices, meaning I can cook dinner for my family and sit down and have a family talk. Instead, I'm here. So let's start this slate clean. Picture this. 60% of Missouri is in drought as of 2026 in May. Now there is construction starting. 1,000 acres of concrete, air pollution from generators, water depletion, wildlife dying, and all of our homes lost their values. Now, how much would you pay to have that back? 16,000 people have read this post in the last 20 hours, and I want to read it to you. It's from Allison Aquino. ABC National News came to our house today. They walked our land, they saw our home, they met our family, they listened to what this grassroots movement has become. And at one point they said something that stopped me in my tracks. You're like the quintessential small town American dream. I've been thinking about that ever since. Because day to day, it doesn't always feel like that. It feels like dishes in the sinks, babies eating hell, muddy shoes at the door, bills to pay, meetings to attend, documents to read, and one more thing added to an already full plate. But maybe that's exactly what it is. Maybe the American dream isn't flashy or perfect. Maybe it's a child running barefoot under the old trees, a gravel road, a porch light, neighbors showing up, families rooted in a place for generations, land that holds memories, work, sacrifice, and hope. And maybe we take this way of life for granted because it has already just been our home. But today reminded me, this is worth protecting, not because we are against all development, not because we think nothing should ever change, but because change should not come at the expense of people, land, water, history, and families already here. This started with ordinary people asking reasonable questions. Now national media is paying attention. Our homes matter, our lands matter, our voices matter. Franklin County matters. That's what she wrote. And for over here, 50, M as in million, 50, B as in billion, doesn't fly here. We love our land, we love our rivers. We want to save our electric for ourselves, not for them. I mean, has anybody been paying attention to Lake Tahoe? The big energy crisis out there with 40,000 residents that are now priority number 2 over a data center? Next year, they have to figure out how they're going to electric. Let's not be the next.
Thank you for your comments. We have Gary Watson, Nancy Watson, Jennifer Timmerman, and Travis Lake on that. Jerry? Jerry's left. Nancy?
I'm speaking to you now because I oppose both of the 9 properties rezoning. Nestled in the east central portion of Missouri, Franklin County provides a unique environment for the style of living that anyone would desire. Franklin County is a suburban county of the St. Louis metropolitan area that provides both rural and urban living opportunities for approximately 100,000 residents. Among the 922 square mile area of Franklin County, one can still find cattle and row crop farms on the outskirts of its communities. Does this sound familiar? It should, as it is a direct quote from the Franklin County government website at franklinmo.org. Our concerns and our research have been presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission, to you, the commissioners, in many weekly meetings, by mail, regular mail, in media interviews, and today in these hearings. One of you asked me, where else could we put the data centers? If the proposed sites are the only possibilities in Franklin County and are unsuitable, and I firmly believe they are, due to the location and proximity to residential, agricultural properties, and a nature reserve, then consider this. Now is not the right time to approve the land use amendments and the zoning changes to both the Diamond Farms and the McLaren property. Counties, cities, and states are pushing back against the massive number of data centers being proposed. New, well-thought-out regulations will be written, even on a state and federal level. More research on the negative health and environmental effects of data centers will be developed by independent, trusted scientists and impartial experts. Unfortunately, as more and more data centers are built and operated, human beings living nearby and even miles around
Jennifer Terrell, please.
are the research animals. Thank you.
Translating Elizabeth Hartley. Grant?
Yes.
You got it?
It's my sincerely held religious beliefs.
Oh.
Thank you. Alright, one thing real quick. Cursing is free speech in a limited public forum, so don't care that you don't like it, get over it. I'm sure your county council knows that. Hopefully he advises you of that. Anyway, I'm here today to offer a formal rebuttal on the closed loop cooling system that you talked about. I graduated 30 years ago with an electrical engineering degree from University of Missouri-Rolla, industrial control system, area of expertise. So I'm competent to speak on this matter. He actually is one of the few people that describes true closed loop cooling systems. It's the radiant type, okay? There's a cooling tower involved, it's not a closed loop system, that's a lie, okay? So commend him for actually using the term correctly. There's a problem with this system though. It uses ambient air temperature is what cools the water down. So think about it. Best case scenario on a hot summer day, it's 95 degrees out, you're going to cool that water to 95 degrees. Even if the system's 100% efficient, you're only going to get to cool the servers down to 95 degrees. They won't run at that. So it's not a feasible cooling system to use in the state of Missouri. That only works in cold climates. So something doesn't add up here. Okay, you're being gaslit by this guy. That's not a system you can use here. I can almost guarantee you move this along and you get the developer contract, it's gonna have weasel words in it, just like the Festus one did, that says, oh, we're not gonna drill private wells. Well, guess what they're doing now? They're drilling wells they're calling public on the development site, okay? It's all lies and smoking mirrors, all right? I'm not gonna have time to get through everything, so I'm just gonna jump to this one. This is what they're not telling you too. They're only telling you the water that's used at the data center site. They're not telling you about the water that's being used at the power plant. Most of the water consumption from these projects is from the additional power needs. That's the blue. The red is the water consumption on average that's used from a data center. Got this from a .gov website. It's credible information, okay? These guys don't know, go to drought.gov, get historical information. We're a drought-prone state. You're not smart for building this stuff here, all right? And I just want you to know that you're being gaslit big time by these greedy corporate kids. Nobody wants your dog food projects. So take a hand and read the room.
You look for exhibits? Nope. Next is Elizabeth Artway. Renee Bollinger. Patty Gibson, Michael Smith. One day.
What happened to David and Mr. C's Monster Research? My name is Renee Bowner, and I grew up on Robertsville Road, and I attended Coleman Elementary School. I am asking you from the bottom of my heart to vote no on reselling this property for a base. My deepest concern is for the children at Coleman Elementary School and the families who live nearby, who will carry the burden of this decision long after tonight. This is not just about development. In other communities, data centers have brought constant noise, air pollution from backup generators, and harmful waste. Neighbors have reported sleepless nights, headaches, anxiety, and breathing problems. Those are not minor inconveniences. They are serious harms to daily life, health, and peace of mind. Please do not ask this community, and especially its children, along with the wildlife farm animals, to accept those risks. Once it's built, we cannot undo the damage. I ask that you protect our school, our neighbors, and our future by letting down the reason. These are reported consequences and should be addressed and documented along with early studies. Noise pollution. Data centers produce continuous noise through cooling fans and backup generators day and night. Residents in Aurora, Illinois reported vibrations, persistent buzzing from nearby facilities. Even after sound walls were installed by operators such as Sectors 1, are you going to allow 24/7 construction on these sites? Air pollution and health risks. Diesel backup generators and cooling systems can emit nitrogen oxide and particulate matter, which may worsen respiratory conditions such as asthma. In Canton, Mississippi, residents reported lung irritation and breathing problems after a new Amazon center was built being operated. Residents have reported headaches, insomnia, nausea, and anxiety linked to constant humming, sometimes worsened by the load testing. Infrastructure from cooling systems and turbines have been associated with sleepless deprivation and health concerns. Over time, high noise exposure may contribute to hearing loss, cardiovascular stress, and mental health issues. In some communities, repeated noise complaints have led to zoning changes or projected denials, including in Chandler, Arizona, where years of opposition contributed to the city council vote against a new data center. Low-frequency hums or droning, difficult to hear from a data center, is often called low-frequency tonal noise. It's continuous, broadband sound, often described as a drone, buzz, or white noise. It may be difficult to hear. Much of this noise falls in the 50 to 2,000 hertz range, and which is below what many people can hear. Broadband character, instead of a single tone, it spans many frequencies, which can make it hard to detect and stand a hearing test. Why it matters.
Thank you for your comment. Carol Strong. Patty Gibson. You're Carol. Michael Smith. Carol. Jess DeLay. Pam Whitlock and Karen Cracovia. On deck.
Yes. I've been watching the development that's happening up at AT and 100 and all the way down St. Mary's Road. I know that some of that area is well suited for gas stations, fast food, or whatever. As I look down St. Mary's Road and see even more land being leveled, trees being taken out, sidelines being opened up, it's getting closer and closer to the rural area that we all know and love. I can only imagine what it would feel like if we start seeing development like that on the Diamond Farm property. And that is not a place that is well suited for industrial development. It will be even more heartbreaking knowing that there are many resident homes in a nature preserve right next door to it. When we moved out here, we chose to live out here because we did not want to be near industrial development and felt safe in the country with properties owned for homes or farming. We never dreamed there was a possibility that within a mile of where we live as the crow flies, that there could be a huge industrial development. Please, don't try to tell us we won't even know it's there. You cannot say that hundreds of acres with large buildings, lighting, generators, fans, concrete, and asphalt will not have a detrimental effect on residents and wildlife. I did not grow up in this county, but it has become home to me, and a dream I dared not dream of having our 3 daughters and their families living next door to us on our family compound. We have 11 grandchildren so far. The thought of having forever chemicals in the air and water, infrasound, low-frequency waves that travel through solid walls and human tissue that you often feel rather than hear, which can trigger nausea, severe headaches, and have adverse effects on the heart, light that interferes with our night skies, all of this is not supposed to happen where we live. Don't try to sell us on how all this will propel us with great economic advancement. We did not and will not ask for that type of change where we live. If we wanted that, we'd live in the city. Rezoning this property for data center development will open up our whole county to being up for grabs by big tech. Is that what you want your legacy to be? Follow the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Please vote against the rezoning of Diamond Farms. We don't envy your job. We do pray for your guidance and honesty and patience to work through this with the best interest of all the residents of our county. Franklin County is a special place, a haven for those who want to embrace the outdoors and all that goes with it. Peace and quiet, cleanliness, privacy, wildlife, independence, and safety. Please don't take that away from us.
Thank you very much.
I live in the Lotus Estates. My home is approximately 1,000 feet from Diamond Farms. Our neighborhood comprises the southern border of this parcel, over 400 acres of houses and endless miles of houses further on behind us. Across from the west at 44 frontage lies hundreds more homes and families. Along the north border of the parcel, even in properties currently zoned A, lie homes, which you, Commissioner, know as your business sits right there. Across the road frontage of 100 we have Green Farms, and down Robertsville Road, more homes. Most importantly, I would say, is to the east, we have Shaw Nature Reserve, over 2,400 acres of protected environmentally sensitive land, home to several endangered species, and one of the largest tourist draws for our county. With an average of 70,000 annual visitors coming to our community, to enjoy the quiet, scenic landscapes that Franklin County is known for, and thus adding a consumer market to our surrounding businesses. Today, an adjacent piece of undeveloped land to rezone into an industrial facility spanning over 300 acres not only is a violation of the community's rural features, but a threat to one of our major tourism and financial magnets. In relevant part, our master plan requires that contiguous land uses are compatible. Here will be a great conflict with existing residential, agricultural, and nature preservation of the adjacent parcels. Now, the flashy promises of minimal disturbance, no noise increases, limited water use are not only false, but as I hope I made previously clear to you, unenforceable. And the record maintained through this hearing process has received research from scientists, environmental experts, legal opinions, community input, and data collection, all of which share that common conclusion. These data centers will damage our land, harm our people, exploit our systems, and cause legal ramifications for all involved. I'll allow my peers to cite the evidence explaining why closed systems are a misnomer, how constant sound with audible infrasound can cause intense damages, and the drain on our already failing energy systems. Ameren currently does not have the energy required for a stable infrastructure. We consistently are experiencing outages already. I don't know if you saw the flower flickering as the storm goes on. The community has done this work before you. The science evidence is a fact, not a theory. The legal ramifications and financial implications are well documented around the country. The people have said no. 11 hours of testimony, thousands of petition signatures, hundreds of pages of evidence, research, and legal opinion. Your community and your employers as elected officials have spoken. Data centers are not welcome in Franklin County. Not at Picket Creek, not at Diamond Farms, not anywhere. This AI bubble is going to burst. Do not let us be in the crosshairs when it does. Thank you.
Gary Gravina and Michael Lebner on deck. Great coach.
Good evening. My name is Pam Whitelock, and I live at Hartsville Road, Charles Nature Reserve. My husband and I have spent nearly 30 years restoring our 1902 home so we could age in place responsibly and without taking on debt and retirement. We've made careful long-term decisions to reduce maintenance and improve resilience, not for luxury, but so that we could remain financially independent as we grow older. Like many people, we have already absorbed significant cost increases over the past few years, which have delayed our retirement timeline. But we adjusted our plans because those decisions were within our control. What we did not plan for is for a project like this. This is a 500-plus acre multi-year industrial scale development. During construction alone, we may need to board our horses due to the dust and vibration, due to real respiratory issues and health issues that our horses have. Address potential impacts to our home, including lab and plaster walls and ceilings, and taking on ongoing costs simply to maintain our normal use of our property. These are not one-time costs. They could continue for years. They are not costs we created. They are costs that are being imposed on us by this project. This is where the issue becomes one of fairness. Because what we have done, responsible residents are supposed to do. We invested in our home, maintained our property, and planned carefully for our future. At the same time, this area is a broad part of tourism and conservation corridor that includes Shaw Nature Reserve, Marina Farms, and Robertsville State Park. In many ways, Shaw Nature Reserve itself reflects an earlier effort to preserve natural and research-oriented land from the expanding industrial pressures in the early 1900s. One concern residents have today is whether the infrastructure and precedent created by this project of this scale will gradually change the long-term trajectory of the surrounding area. This is a long-term decision. I'm asking that decisions made with complete understanding of the long-term impacts and that the county helps ensure that the costs and impacts of development are not transferred
Thank you for your testimony. Karen Crackle, I'm sorry if I see that as an A as opposed to an
I've never heard of Twitter that bad yet. Okay, this is, oh, sorry. This piece, I have the, I brought this up here. It's from the EES chemical pollution website. It's basically founded by a bipartisan group of members of Congress and the Environmental Agency Study Institute. The EESI has worked since 1984 to provide science-based educational resources to policymakers and the public. The importance of limiting PFAS, chemicals, and data center operations, closed-loop cooling systems should require the removal of off-site treatment of chemical-laden water. Never should treated water be discharged to surrounding groundwater. Consult with experts for more protective regulations. The potential negative effects of data center expansion on carbon emission, water usage, and electric bills are relatively well documented, but the potential PFAS pollution, both direct and indirect, are less well known. The PFAS, also known as forever chemicals, are very durable and accumulative in both the environment and the body. Over time, posing real concerns for the long-term human and ecological health. Data centers host tens of thousands of servers that run 24/7 in order to keep the vital networks, cloud storage, and computing in operation. Such servers require semiconductors, cooling systems, and fire suppressants, all sources of PFAS, forever chemicals. Due to the durability of PFAS accumulative in both the environment and the body over time, posing real concerns for long-term human and ecological health. When these forever chemicals enter the body, they accumulate in human tissue instead of being metabolized by the body like other contaminants. The bioaccumulation has toxic effects, especially for the liver, blood, and kidneys. Researchers have found that PFAS impact the fetal growth, organ development, reproductive health, and other biological processes, and have been linked to high rates of cancer. Studies show that most Americans have the level of PFAS in their blood. Data centers primarily use PFAS to cool their servers and suppress fires. Data center servers generate large amounts of heat as they operate. These two-phase immersion cooling has particularly become popular and cost-effective and highly energy efficient. This technology, however, uses carbon and fluoride in the building blocks of several of these.
Thank you for your comments. Michael Ledner, Matt
I want to address some of the comments that were made before. I think you guys got your administrative process screwed up as far as the cart before the horse, because you have to hear the zoning request, but you don't have a land use for the data center. So until you have a land use, why are we wasting our time talking about changing the zoning? I also want to say it's a little bit stupid to say it's like a car radiator and have to discuss whether we for a closed loop thing. I worked on a closed loop system, so I really take offense to that. And what's the deal on Facebook? You guys are putting out PRs, $50 million. I see data centers. Is that what you have to do to try and sway public sentiment? I hope you guys aren't doing that. You know, and you're taking the guidance from them on making zoning rules. So how about I pay taxes and I make the rules? I'll make the rules. You guys pay all my taxes. All these data centers are going to take new distribution switches, which is gonna create an EMF problem for people that live close to them. The other problem I have is they submit drawings, you guys close this hearing, and we can't make any more things. I don't get to see what that is until after you guys post that on your website, in order to see that, so we have no idea what's going on, so. The other thing, the guy from the trades, from the pipe fitters, where are the rest of the trades for all these jobs that are coming? Is local one here with the electricians, anybody else? No, we haven't heard anything from that. So maybe they got a little, they're handing themselves too, so. And that's from someone that was in the union, so. All I want to say is you guys went on a field trip and you went and looked at some data centers. Did you go ask any of the residents near those data centers if they were happy with living next to a data center?
No.
I don't believe that was done either, so. Let's not be in a hurry and waste our county ribbon with legal fees trying to extend the decision and a vote on non-factual evidence because you're in a hurry for some reason. You've shown that your words don't mean much because this was taken for 6 months, and obviously someone told the P&Z Commission to not table it. And since none of you are data center experts, I recommend that the county hire a non-biased and non-interested third party for consulting to get factual evidence. You represent us, show us the facts, and do not dismiss our concerns and adhere to the master plan. Thank you.
Anna? Shane Hughes? Gary Stoltz? Natalie LaFata? Vicki Schmiedeskin? Laura Hanna? Carla Abel, Dana Bowers, and Dustin Bowers, and Daxton Bowers on this.
I got a new roof, new siding, new gutters, new doors, fresh attic insulation. Ameren said I'm using 30% less power, and my bill shows I'm paying more. I conserve, I respect the water, the land, the animals, my neighbors. I know I'm making progress. I just can't see the progress. The closed loop system is titled incorrectly. They say the water is filled once and recycled forever. This is not true. As the chips get smaller and AI demands get larger, the heat these machines generate is outstripping the closed loop theory. To keep the servers from melting, a data center has to feed the lines to remove toxic sludge, also known as forever chemicals. And bleeding water has to be evaporated. It does not stay in the loop. It evaporates into the sky at millions of gallons. I know how rigorous studies are often self-funded. We demand our own studies by independent labs. We are being asked to fund a 21st century luxury with a 19th century resource heist. We are being asked to sacrifice the lifeblood of our city so a $1 trillion company can save a fraction of a cent on its margins. We are being asked to drain our reservoirs so a chatbot can write a poem or create an image of ourselves to make us look better. They want us to trust a $1 trillion industry that it's okay to return the treated water back to our rivers. So when a $1 trillion company asks for our water, our electricity, our silence, our compliance, as evidenced in the NDAs, what is going on? The money, the kickbacks, trades, who is the trader in our elected officials? Who loses? Who benefits? Please remember, we will remember you. This is your choice of how you will think on you. providing other family members with health issues that cost me thousands of dollars a month already, as it is, to maintain the medications that I have to acquire for my child, because he has to do everything naturally and homeopathically. You go and allow these data centers to be put in here, and you're going to exacerbate the long-term exposure to the pollution, whether it be noise, air, land, water, I don't care, whatever it is. They cannot sit here and blatantly lie to you and tell you there's going to be absolutely no pollution whatsoever, because that is a blatant lie. My son and my family members cannot handle being exposed to any more long-term pollution. That's why we live where we live right now. It's because we are trying to stay out of the city. The additional medical expenses incurred from increased bills due to exposure from not just the buildings being there and close to the schools and close to our home, the construction, guys, years and years of construction, the damage done to the roads, all the dust coming up, all the pollution off the additional trucks coming through there. Why are we not thinking about this pollution as well? This is long term. The definition of crimes against humanity is an egregious act such as murder, torture, or rape committed as part of a widespread or systematic attack directed against any civilian population. This can happen during war or peace times, and it does not require proof of intent to destroy a protected group. Unbeknownst to Providence, there are a lot more highly educated people in this community than what you are obviously aware of, gentlemen. You tried to slither your way in here. We know what you are doing. It is happening nationwide, but you are not going to get by with it in this county. Look it up. The copies of the petitions that I gave you guys a couple of weeks ago at the mission meeting, those petitions now have over 11,000 Franklin County residents that say no to this. Why is it all of a sudden money is so much more important, or the potential money that they are lip servicing you with? $50 million a year. Where is it coming from? Who is it going to? Where is it coming from? We've seen nothing in black and white. And I guarantee you probably haven't either, and that's why you haven't given it to us. Whatever they turned into you today, because I'm going to leave you with this. Whatever they turned into you today, and everything we've turned in, we deserve to leave this hearing open. Do not close this hearing. We all deserve more time.
I'm sitting in the lunchroom with a fully loaded triple cheeseburger, and the school board walks in and tells me I can trade my lunch for his, but won't tell me what's hidden in his big bag. He says if I don't willingly trade him, he will take it one way or another. If I don't know what I'm trading for, why would I be willing to trade my cheeseburger at all? So I stand up and fight to keep what rightfully belongs to me. And that's what the people of Franklin County have been doing, because we have the land that these vultures want. Providence and Bella have marched into our community like that boy in a lunchroom, ready to take what they want from us for us. They have not presented any legal contractual business plans, no legal contracts proving only local workers would be constructing these facilities, no legal documentation on where the potential tax money would come from, or how it would be divided up throughout the county. Nor have they shown us how these AI data centers will not harm our environment or our health. The only proof I've seen from anyone is a national fight to stop these construction due to the harmful noise, light, and environmental damages by the ones that are currently functioning. My personal health, along with thousands of others in this county, can't handle living next to these types of facilities. So what do we do? Why would we want to give them anything along the lines of rezoning properties until we the people have the facts and legal documents first of what they would be putting on these pieces of land and who would be occupying these facilities? I'm You're only 13, but I even know decisions should only be based on facts, common sense, honor, Christian morals, integrity, loyal to the will of the people. You all work for us, not the developers. The desire of the people of this county should always be the priority over the magic game these developers refer to as money. Thank you.
We have Rebecca Buckley, Heather D., Michael Hayden, John Aslan, and Matthew Voss and Jenny Voss on the deck. Rebecca? Heather? Heather? Michael Hayden?
I do. Sitting back here, listen to these guys present this to you, I had a couple of things that just popped back up on my mind. First thing, I got this concern with this pollution, the smoke from the diesels. I worked at the Lamby Power Plant for 40 years. Ameren, Union Electric before that. We had emergency generators there. This generator was probably about half the size, this emergency generator, half the size of this opening behind in the blue wall. This thing was like a V12 gigantic diesel that smoked like that. It was noisy as that. Yes, it was under a cover. It was noisy and it stunk. It was 1 megawatt. Well, granted, with today's modern technology, I guess it's going to be more efficient. But when I see that all these buildings, they talk about 70 megawatts of building, I'm thinking, damn, this generator is really going to be putting out the smoke. It's not going to be like a couple of John Deere tractors out in the field. Second thing, dealing with Ameren. We talk about the cost of your electric. Probably 15 years ago, Ameren's largest business was a smelter down on 55, South 55 down there. And they use about 10 to 12% of the generation 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Well, Ameren's got a lot of different levels that you pay for your electricity. You know, the commercial customers get a break, residential guys split. Well, this smelter had decided that the 5.2% that they was paying was still too high. Ameren was producing that power for about 5% at the time. They went back and they wanted to buy electric for about 4 cents a kilowatt. Ameren asked them, who's going to pay for this? Their answer was, the public. You know, and I can't imagine they go sucking all this electric up that we ain't going to be bearing the brunt of that. A third thing, you had the picture over there. Well, we live about a half mile from crow flies from the your switching yard building. I see this building on there, and it looked to me like I said, it's 300 feet by 850 feet long.
Your time has expired. Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. Thanks, Mr. John.
Sir, what is your address? You didn't write that on the board.
I'm currently homeless. I don't have an address. I'm John Asman. Oh, sorry, let me swear. Sure thing. I'd like to start off again and say thank you for wasting our entire day. I think we already know your minds are already made up. You're already paid off, and at least pretend to read these documents if you did. You could be on our side, just vote it no right now, but instead, you tell us, you limit our speech, you limit who can show up. I'd like to point out, you have signs outside saying we're not allowed to have signs. I feel like that might be a First Amendment right issue, and these developers have giant signs right here. Why aren't we allowed to have simple signs? We aren't allowed to display messages. You're scared of words. You're scared of the truth. You're scared of applause. You're scared of people's words when it doesn't align with your special interests and your money. You're selling out to people, and I am not quite frankly sure how you sleep at night. You told us to have some decorum. You call us childish, yet refuse to say a word, say names, Mr. Shits. I'm going to choose my words wisely here. You are hiding behind money-hungry, pencil-pushing bureaucratic destiny who have no regard for anyone's well-being except their own. You ask us to respect these vultures while showing us zero respect for yourself. The only transparency surrounding these data centers is how easy you bend over for men in cheap suits promising you money that doesn't exist. I would like to use the rest of my time. If anyone's been to Shaw Nature Reserve, can you please stand up? Okay, I'm glad you at least went there before you destroyed it. Anyways, I hope you have a good night, and wait, actually, one more question. You said you wouldn't vote on this today, you would vote on this on a future date. When will that date be? Will it be announced, or will it just be behind closed doors with these, will it be under a non-disclosure agreement? Will we have notice, or will it be on Monday morning at 3 a.m.? It's disgusting, and you're making us sit here for hours. I'm not even quite sure. We don't even have cushions on our seat. Go sit on it, like, join us on these uncomfortable seats all day. It's bad for our backs, quite frankly. I am exhausted, I'm hungry, and I don't want to keep on doing this. This is being drug out for absolutely no reason. And do you want me to submit my written testimony again, or will you just rip that out again?
Thank you for your testimony.
Sorry for using my written testimony again.
Thank you for your testimony. No, thank you for your testimony. Matthew Voss.
Thank you, Commissioner, for spending with us this evening. I'd like to go over some of the historical aspects of the Diamond Farm. The Diamond Farm is rich history that could be lost rather than could be celebrated rather than lost or destroyed. It's from founding settlers and Franklin County, Shaw's Beach Reserve, 366, cattle ranchers, and later business owners. William Thomas and Elizabeth Tyler and Elizabeth Eastman settled upon this land in 1880. And were some of the original pioneers in the county. The Tyler and Lee families were buried upon this land since 1910, of which the cemetery is platted along the postal map which I provided. Charles Lee Reserve was founded in 1925 by five adjoining farms to save native plant collections from St. Louis toxic soft coal sludge. Orchards once thrived and cultivated along the reserve until 1953. Air quality improved in St. Louis, so they relocated some of the plants and they decreased since then. The reserve has been used with more of a focus on education and ecological preservation. 366 has created and bringing more visitors out to this area at Shaw's Nature Reserve, which businesses along 366 have benefited, such as Diamonds Restaurants, both at 27 and 72 locations Garden Hotel, and others. Later in the 1880s, a big-time cattle breeder moved to the area and purchased the farm. Over time, it was owned by the applicants, and it is, as we know today, with cattle, stables, riding rings, and vast acres of wildlife at that point. I'd like you to consider some of the other possibilities that this property could be used for. You can maintain the riding rings and training and equestrian skills sports facilities and create horse trails throughout the whole entire property. The equestrian competitions could be barrel racing, steeplechase, obstacle courses, horse racing, and endurance racing that can draw in many people from outside the county and the state. You could also create Franklin County's first county park, or expand the property of Shaw's Nature Reserve for the benefit of all people in the county. The fact that Shaw's Nature Reserve was created to preserve and protect from toxic pollution is ironic, with data centers causing so much ecological harm to plants and wildlife, isn't it? One would think that the current property owner, who was a member emerita, was on the executive board of the Missouri Botanical Garden and Shaw Nature Reserve, and his niece-in-law, who sits upon the Missouri Department of Conservation Board Commission, would be in favor of promoting conservation and preservation of this game land at the proposed forefront of this development. This would be, if you had maintained this property as it is, it would be a substantial benefit for Franklin County as a whole, and for the use by the residents and Provincetown and Madison districts.
Thank you, Mr. Ross. Next is Sheriff Burrow, Tom Sprouse, Mary Ann Hayden, Hannah Hayden, and Samantha Kurtz on there.
Have you ever had that one area of land that made you truly believe God was great? That's what I think of as I cross the bridge over 44 on 100, getting ready to get on eastbound 44 in the morning. The amazing sunrises I have seen through the last 15 years are my inspiration for the day, and that can all be possibly gone in blink of an eye. I have seen Providence proposed plan and can't help but think, why is it okay to place an AI hyperscale data center close to an elementary school? Do we really know the effects hyperscale data centers have on our youngest citizens? Using Google Earth, Coleman Elementary is 44/100ths of a mile away from the buildings. That is less than a half a mile. Civic High School and Arrow Academy are 2.87 miles, and the list goes on. For this particular, I'm going to talk about Coleman. During construction, the school will have to endure the noise of many construction trucks and equipment the entire school day, every day. There will be so much dust that kids may not be able to go outside for recess or PE. Will students with asthma be alienated from their peers who can go outside but they cannot? Will teachers be able to open up the windows to get fresh air from these sleepy kids? Extra construction traffic will cause more congestion on the road. Dump trucks get paid for the amount of loads they haul away. Will buses taking students to and from school be safe on the roads? How about students getting on and off the bus that have to cross that road? And we know an entire bus load gets off at Civic Summit Estates. What will the effects for children and special needs children being exposed to infrasound or low-level frequency have? Will they have headaches, dizziness? Some of these students will live just as close to the hyperscale data center and will never be able to get away from it. Will the decibel level decrease by the time it gets to Coleman? Coleman Elementary is on a well. Will students be able to drink the water from the water fountains? Will they have enough water pressure for over 300 students and staff at Coleman on a daily basis? Or will the school district have to come up with other measures to get water? Secretary Robert Kennedy stated on April 22nd that concentrated technology infrastructure may expose nearby communities to elevated levels of electromagnetic radiation. Gives harm to potential long-term health hazards, including grave neurological injuries and increased cancer risk. Are we okay with bringing AI hyperscale data centers into our community when we still don't know what the impacts might be 10, 20, or 30 years from now? Will we end up hearing on the nightly news about the neighbors filing claims about being exposed to developing cancer or neurological disorders, like what happened at Fort Lauderdale Creek? We do not know the answers, so why expose an entire elementary school?
Thank you, Jenny, for your comments.
I would like to request a testimony previously submitted be put in for exhibit in this case as well on this slide. Yes, sir. So, got it. All right, so back where I was. Item number 10, or correction, item number 11, will it be a trust of funds only accessible to address any operational and post-operational environmental testing and remediation by the local? Go back to number 10. Will there be a trust of funds accessible by the county and closed entity to close campus that can only be accessible if and when the campus is closed? Because we do not want to have another generally landfill issue with 30, 40 years of full permit. Item number 12, do all parcels of land need to be rezoned and setback remain agricultural or turn into a park to ensure that the setback shall reserve and add further beautification of the area? I want to go back to the 11. All right, North American Energy Reliability Corporation reports high risk shortfalls in the diesel sector on 10-year assessment, high risk vulnerability of diesel grid due to influx of AI and data centers, high risk of extreme weather events and temperature fluctuations, high heat, winter environments. We all remember last winter they were telling us turn our thermostats down and unplug your toaster. The potential inadequacy for residential growth affecting development and housing security. This addresses potential inadequacy for manufacturing or industrial code affecting national security. We can't build weapons, can't build guns, we're China's little puppets. Grid, specifically, grid instability for our seniors and vulnerable people, yes. And I don't know, has anyone ever lived with blackouts and that? I have. Have you all? The natives get quite aggressive. It makes those gentlemen's job a lot harder. It causes a real big health concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Mary Ann Higgins.
Yeah, find page 1. Got a little nervous. So, I found where to start. Yes, to the best of my ability, yes, sir. Beginning where my husband ended off, in the switch yard that they're going to be making, it's going to be 1 football field wide and 3 football fields long, and that will be at Kirkland Road and St. Mary's Road. And I have to ask, how will they disguise that one? Because it will be right there where it's, right in first place. So I want to make sure that was how big it will be. And then I wanted to also say, driving down the road on American Inn Road, whenever they cut those trees away, that dust, I call it black dust, bad stuff, will blow, because the trees are gone, will blow closer to all the people. And the dust will come off the data center, will blow further because the trees will be gone. That means we will breathe it. Light pollution, again, is already in my bedroom from a previous business, and I had to put in extra dark mini blinds, and that is right caddy corner, and this one here is the other caddy corner, so I will be double hit by the lights no matter what, and that is a fact. And they say they do something about it, but they don't. They just don't, and I'm living it already more than a year. And everyone who ever speaks in favor of it, I truly believe it is their job. because of the big business. I truly believe this. But if you live near to it, you just don't want it. If you live next to it, you don't want it. Shaw Nature Reserve also lets the high school cross-country team run in that area. They've done it for all my kids. They were on cross-country for 40 years. And the kids, well, it's there. Next subject, brownout. We have freezers never stop. I have 3 of them. Like I said, I do live off my land. And with that, the ice box will go, or the freezers, because the engines will warm up and it'll blow them up quicker. And that would be for any of us. And then when we had that tornado, they were out for 6 days. Question, who would get the electricity? Us first or the data center? Anyways, I'm back to the Diamond Farm. I have been driving down Robertsville State Road for 50 years because that's where my grandma used to live. Back in there, and I remember the old nature reserve even having all the greens over that beautiful brick wall there forever. But I think it's rude that they should even think about putting this data center next to Shaw's Nature Reserve. It just don't make sense. So now this goes to the first warrior back that was talking. I kind of took notes. Lighting, yes, it'll affect the skylights. This water will affect us. It really will, even a little bit. Bats. I see them every night at my house and they will fly around.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
On deck. Samantha Crooks, I cannot see her. Elizabeth Bennett.
I'm marking Ms. Bennett's testimony as Exhibit 55.
I'm Elizabeth Bennett of Robertsville, Missouri. I'd like to rewind to January 13, 2026. Governor Kehoe signed an executive order 2602 establishing a strategic framework for integrating artificial intelligence into Missouri state government operations and preparing the state's economy. The directive outlines a coordinated, multi-agency approach to safely adopt AI technologies while protecting citizens and growing the workforce. Just 7 days later, on January 20th, the Franklin County community turned out in masses for the hearings for the amendment of land use regulations and 2 rezoning requests to accommodate for what we now know as a hyperscale AI data campus/park. Now I'm looking back at this executive order, roughly 4 months later, and I have some thoughts and comments. This is going to be very disorganized, I'm sorry. One of his statements was the state of Missouri is committed to embracing innovation to expedite government work. That word expedite is very intimidating to me now looking back at that. The second part of it was the development of AI systems must be guided by principles that safeguard the fundamental values and interests of Missourians, including data privacy, effective data quality management, and human oversight, ethical considerations, and transparency. That's also concerning. That's number 3 on the list. He goes on to talk about creating high-wage jobs, stimulating economic growth. We know there's not a lot of jobs with these. He also talks about the substantial energy demands of data centers, which are essential to AI infrastructure, and that they must be managed proactively to ensure that Missourians and citizens are protected from unduly high energy rates. He also goes on to talk about the rich natural resources that are needed to provide for residential, agricultural, and industrial demands, making effective and coordinated management critical. The rapid adoption of artificial intelligence across the economic sectors necessitates a proactive strategy to equip Missouri's current and future workforce with the necessary technological skills to remain competitive and ensure that Missouri is positioned to fill high-growth, high-wage jobs created by the AI economy. So going back through like this breakdown, human decision-making. Senator Nicola, just a few days ago, introduced SB 1012, which is the AI Non-Satience and Responsibility Act, which is a legal framework that denies legal personhood to artificial intelligence and ensures that the legal, financial, and moral responsibility for AI's actions remains squarely with human developers, owners, and operators. Missouri now has a chance to set a standard for the rest of the nation, but only if the House follows the Senate's bipartisan example and passes these safeguards for legislative sessions. So I did go and check out who else was involved in helping these decisions, and I do have something in there from the DNR website that Missouri, oh, okay, well, check it out. I have some great stuff on there. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next is Matt Hill. Linda Carr, Sandra Vaughn, David Wood, Chris Watson, and Deborah Weisman.
But how many to after it's okay?
That's fine. You are, this is Linda, right? Linda?
I'm Linda.
I want to make sure I get the right
I
number.
was born. Last year, over 50,000 employees of Microsoft, Google, and Amazon lost their jobs to AI scientists who took their jobs. And you believe factually, Mr. Congress, that these massive monster buildings are going to produce jobs? Think about it. Now, if you have some grandchildren that are going to go to college, and AI is going to take over and take all those jobs, they're not even going to need any jobs, so they're going to go to college. What are they going to go to college for? What do they want to learn? AI is going to do it all. You see what's going to happen down the road? We let all these AIs come in. You know all over the nation is fighting this. So, let me go on. You raised your phone to me, we had a private conversation, and you said, every time I pick this up, I'm using AI. And you said, the whole country's going to be AI one day. Really? Think about this. The definition of artificial intelligence. The ability of a computer or other machine to perform those activities that are normally thought to require intelligence. The branch of computer science concerned with the development of machines having this ability. Intelligence exhibited by an artificial, non-natural, man-made entity. It's not natural. It's artificial. Is this what you want for our future? For Franklin County? Artificial? I'm real. Mr. Johnson, you provide jobs for people. And it's wonderful that you do. There's people that have jobs, big enough companies that can provide jobs. Mr. Ocean, you too have a business. Same with Mr. Johnson. You're here, and you know, you told me, it's facts. We've just been told back in January, like some of these people over here. Yes, back in January, there's going to be 50 to 100 jobs in this country. These all done. Well, going around in March, we had this meeting with planning and zoning, and they get up and they talk again. Now it's up to over 300 jobs. What did they tell you just now? Thousands of jobs. Do you see how they keep increasing it? Let me tell you, if when your children came to you and maybe they did something and you questioned them in line, you questioned again, right again. Would you really trust them anymore? Trust them when they tell you these lies. Think about it. All the time. With the lighting, my husband has a light in the garage and it illuminates 20 feet, just a real small LED. He says 20 feet. Really? These LEDs are going to go a lot further than that. It's going to be a big glow. We got to do this. If you're out in the desert and you're screaming out, what's going to happen? You're not going to hear anything. But when you're in on the hills, in the woods and everything, and you yell, guess what's going to happen? You're going to hear echoes everywhere. There's the sound.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. Next is Sandra. Sandra Vaughn.
Sandra Vaughn has left us a mom. She asked me to speak for her. No? You won't let that happen?
You're not signed up to speak, are you?
I am signed up next. I'm David Moore Wood.
Are you Dawn Wood? Yes. Okay. Dawn Wood is next.
So, okay. I know. So, the developers say won't and will happen. Put this in a legal term on paper, and I also ask that the developers buy out everyone who wants out. For the same kind of prices you are paying for the land you're buying to put these data centers in. Franklin County can keep the data centers and lose the families' homes and the taxes that we provide. We need safety precautions put in place for us. We need community benefit agreements. This is a legal, enforceable contract between the developer and the affected residents, community groups. It can require noise protection, water use limit, traffic mitigations, property value protection, buyout options, environmental monitoring, and emergency response plans, financial compensation funds. In the minimization clauses, this means the company agrees to financially protect residents or local governments from damages caused by the project, such as water contamination, flooding, property damage, infrastructure strain, generator damage, noise, environmental claims. We need to request the developer to agree to performance bonds, infrastructure bonds, and environmental remediation bonds. This creates actual money set aside if promises are broken and damage occurs. It is a financial guarantee. We also need a property value guarantee program. This would require the company to compensate homeowners if the property values decline, purchase homes at a pre-development market value, cover appraisal disputes, and relocation expenses. I say, if this data center is such a great thing and no issues will arise with this, then it shouldn't be an issue to put this in place, correct? Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Chris Watson. Deborah.
Here's not, hold on, we're gonna have to figure out. I'm marking Lynn Carr's exhibit as exhibit 56 for the testimony prior to the last meeting.
So help me the good Lord, God is good. The threat to control our society with artificial intelligence is definitely growing. That's why I believe it is urgent that we, as Americans, take strong action to stop it, or at least take serious action to control it, and that has to do with the data centers. The data centers are a direct link to artificial intelligence. We already have all the digital stuff that we need for our phones, laptops, and everything right now with the smaller data centers. But these are, of course, the larger ones, and they're going to be for the AI and the robots. And the robots will definitely take over the humans.
Saint in the Lord Jesus Christ, you do thee. Glory to the Son, by the voice, Holy Spirit.
Digital ID systems implemented for government and corporations will have the unprecedented power to track, monitor, control every aspect of your life, from your money and healthcare to your social connections. Bill Gates, one of the most powerful proponents behind AI, has threatened that digital ID must be accepted by U.S. citizens by 2028. Okay, they have an agenda. Otherwise, they risk exclusion from society. That means controlling where you can travel, which is one time in 3 years you can fly on an airplane. They will monitor who you associate with, what you spend your money on, and what you believe in politically. And with these data centers and how they track, and with the clock cameras, they will actually only allow you to have 17 grams of meat per year, and 17 grams of dairy per year, and 3 purchases of clothing per year. In your bank, the move is on to replace cash with digital currency, controlled by the AI data centers. The account can be closed at any time and the money confiscated, because in reality, there is no money. It's just pretend wealth controlled at the whim of these bureaucratic and corporate data centers. Do you fully understand what no cash and these data centers are going to do to us? In regards to everything digital wallet, digital vaccine health passports. In order for you to apply for a job, in order for you to even participate, go in a restaurant, go to a theater, go to the Fox Theater, you are going to have to be updated on your vaccines. You're going to have to be updated on
all gonna be tracked with data centers. And right now, in England, they actually have several flat cameras, thousands of them, and people were taking them down because they were tracking people on how far they travel within a certain mileage, and they get charged because of the carbon tax. So all of this has to do with data centers. And do you really want this in your life? Because it's going to affect all of you. And I would like to know if you have asked these guys what the data centers are for, because they do know. And you need to ask them before you decide to vote on them, before you decide what you're going to vote, how you're going to vote. Thank you.
Well, excellent.
Hello, Commissioners. Yes. All right, so we're on the Provident file. First off, it should have been tabled for 6 months. It's not, because back in February, I wrote Camper a letter requesting that it be put to the March 17th meeting. And if it's that easy, I mean, no means no, we're requesting that you vote no. And we don't really need to have reasons, but we do. We have all of these facts, all of these documents. I would also like to bring up the fact that whenever the other speaker asked people to stand who went to Shaw's Provident, I did not see a single person stand. Also, they say they're going to be using union contractors. They've recently discovered that Provident has a construction company. It used to be called Provident General Contractors. Now it's Blackland Partners, changed in the last couple of years. So I would like it on record that you won't be using your own construction company and that you wouldn't indeed be using union workers. We need to think about all of this pollution. The thermal pollution, the air and water. There are documents, there are commissions. I don't think anything's been read. There's been no meetings attended by those in charge. The main thing, there is a section in the Jefferson County Health Department that I submitted on preventative measures that could be taken. Limit the permissible hours of operation for backup diesel generators. Typically, these are permitted to operate up to 50, 100 hours a year for routine maintenance, testing, and unplanned emergency grid outages. We just had 2 outages yesterday. And also, is that per generator or for the whole file of development? Hydrogen fuel cells and natural gas generators are emerging in large-scale, long-duration applications that represent much cleaner operations than diesel generators. Number 3, natural gas generation. Natural gas power generation for data centers provides a lower emissions profile, is highly available, and allows for longer run times. Integration, this is number 4, integration of renewable energy sources such as solar or wind. And lastly, battery energy source systems can provide shorter-term backup power, high efficiency, lower cost, and reduced emissions. I feel like our community, like whenever we speak up, there's a sense of hatred towards us, towards our facts. So I feel that things are a little skewed already, a little biased. We have to think about our health. We have to think about our constituents, our ecosystem, everything. If we don't have our health, we have nothing. We have no ecosystem. This is a very good document. I wish that I could read it all. So for Provident, I just find it fascinating that they haven't even been there. And 15-day notice. I think that's why they're pushing these, so fast, is because they have to give 15 days notice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was all the testimony on position. We have information only. Kevin Corley. Jim Zanone. Chris Lair. Lloyd Rangers. That concludes the hearing. 250-269 and 250-270. We will take a short 10-minute break, and we will return at 7. Oh, we have everybody. They get time to read that. You have 5 minutes. Oh, you can swear. Right, thank you.
You know, in the spirit of listening and hearing the testimony from the community, we were taking notes. I'm going to try to address as many of the points that were raised as possible. First of all, we approached this data center development with full openness. There were no NDA signed by Provident and no private meetings. We've been honest and open with what information we've been sharing. From a tax perspective, the tax assessment was done by an independent tax firm, and the estimate is at least $50 million net of abatements per year. Building size question, it's 70 feet maximum for us, 2 stories. We're not building 3-story buildings. Noise level, as I mentioned, ambient noise measured at the boundary. We have an independent noise firm that we are contracting to study for over a week at the boundaries of the property and get the ambient noise levels. Just as reference, noise dissipates very quickly over distance. A 70 decibel noise source at 1,000 feet will be 22 decibels. So with the buffers that we have, that's going to be a big help to mitigate the noise. We are committed to dark sky lighting. That's downward lighting, warm lights, shielded on 20-foot poles. There were questions about lithium-ion battery fires. The only place we'll use lithium batteries is in the UPS system. The UPS systems provide a bridge between grid power and generators. About 10 minutes, very limited amount will be inside of the power rooms within the data centers. We are not going to be using BESS systems, battery energy storage systems. Those are more challenging from that risk perspective. There was a question about cooling from a fellow electrical engineer, and I just want to address his concerns. They were really insightful and actually good questions to ask. The closed-loop system does work like a radiator car. That is how it works, but it's augmented with mechanical cooling. When temperatures exceed a certain level, the mechanical cooling system will kick in. The other thing I'll point out is this is going to be a next generation data center. We'll use the Vera Rubin chipset. The nodes that will be deployed into that data center have integrated cooling, closed-loop cooling directly to the chip. And those systems allow you to reject heat at very high temperatures, over 105 degrees actually, it's still rejecting heat. And the augment will be mechanical cooling. There is no evaporation. It is really like a car's cooling system. We are going to use workers, game workers. Probably does not have a general contractor firm. I'm not sure about that question, but we are going to use and are committed to use union workers to build this data center. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, pollution. So the generators will be run once a month. There will be Type 4 generators, which have the latest scrubbing technology to limit the pollution output. They are permitted and governed by the Missouri Department of Natural Resources, and they're primarily going to be operating during severe grid outages. We are taking power from the high tension 345,000 volt lines, and those lines are usually not impacted by the same types of outages as occur in a neighborhood when a tree knocks down a line. I'm also willing to answer any questions the commissioners have at this time. appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. At this time, we will conclude the hearing on 250-269 and 250-270. Again, back to a 10-minute break, and we will return with the next slide.
Thank you.
We're about ready to begin. Get everybody's attention here when we start. We're going to begin with 260037.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll go ahead and read the staff report. The applicant is ELE Land Holdings, LLC. The applicant requests to rezone 12 parcels from the W zoning district to the A zoning district. The properties are located at the end of Phelan Road, north of Highway O, and mostly south of the Merrimack River in the Calvin Township. Facts. The total area for the rezoning is approximately 490 acres. The zoning of these properties is W. The applicant would like to rezone to the A district. The intent of the A district is to provide locations for a wide range of commercial, retail, service, and manufacturing activities serving a large community trade area. The surrounding properties are zoned W. The nearest properties with A zoning are approximately 0.6 miles to the north, just south of the city limits of Pacific, and approximately 0.6 miles to the southeast. The subject parcels are primarily surrounded by low-density residential or undeveloped land. 6 of the 12 subject parcels are undeveloped,
one parcel contains a barn, one parcel contains 9 outbuildings, one parcel contains a house built in 1935 with 5 outbuildings, one parcel contains a house built in 1958, one parcel contains an outbuilding, and one parcel contains an office/garage built in 1998 and an outbuilding. There is one intermittent stream that runs through the property, as well as at least one pond or lake. Part of the northeast area of the property is located within the floodplain. This property appears to have access to Phelan Road, which is county maintained, and Highway O, which is maintained by NODA. Staff comments. Rezonings are allowed in our regulations due to the ever-changing conditions that exist in the county and elsewhere. According to Article 14, Section 321, any such change must promote the health, safety, morals, comfort, and general welfare of Franklin County by conserving and protecting property, building values, by securing the most economical use of land, and facilitating the adequate provision of public improvements in accordance with the master plan adopted by Franklin County. At the April 21st, 2026 meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted on a motion to recommend approval of the rezoning. With 4 in favor and 5 opposed, the motion failed and the rezoning was not recommended for approval.
The applicant can now come forward, don't mind, and you have 15 minutes. Good evening.
I do. My name is Kurt Moss, I'm from Missouri, and I'd like to submit written testimony. Thank you. I'm here on behalf of Beltline Energy and their BLE properties and their project requesting a rezoning application from the W zoning district to the A zoning district to comply, of course, with the data center regulations proposed to be propounded by the county to require those data centers to occur in an A zoning district. That request aligns with the master plan as it relates to the land use to encourage growth of new industry, economic development to create jobs, to deal with other matters in the plan. But I think to better address that, I'd like to introduce Ryan Sanders, the managing partner of Beltline Energy. He brings much experience in the energy industry, both in transmission and promoting projects of this type. Ryan Sanders.
My name is Ryan Sanders of Beltline Energy. I thank you for your consideration tonight and look forward to presenting the facts of our project. Starting with the facts. So our facility is located in the Maritime Valley. We are a line strong with the Franklin County Master Plan. We're 492 acres in unincorporated county. We're adjacent to the Pacific Industrial Area and just across the river from the Pacific Wastewater Treatment Plant. We're sited along Ameren's existing 345 transmission line. Jumping right into water. First and foremost, our project depends on drilling no wells. We will use no groundwater, and we will drill no commercial wells. We currently have a will serve letter from PWSD 3 for 20,000 gallons per day, roughly equivalent to 50 to 60 homes. We need nothing more. The will serve letter covers our entire portable water needs. We still have an application in with City Pacific. We would love to work out a deal to invest in their wastewater treatment facility, improve the quality of the facility, and then use their wastewater for evaporative cooling to our facility. If that partnership never arises, we have what we need for will serve letter for PWSD 3. So if we're not relying on the City Pacific, that's a luxury. We would like to be able to invest in that facility and have access to wastewater for evaporative cooling. That'll improve the facility, improve the discharge into the river, which is currently 6 times above the allowable limit. So our investment will improve the environment as well as giving us access to wastewater discharge. We are strongly aligned with the Franklin County Master Plan. Land use goal number 1, supportable growth through infrastructure. We're built next to Highway O along 345 KV Emory Transmission Corridor, just south of the City of Pacific Industrial Park, and just across from the Pacific Wastewater Treatment Plant. Utilities goal number 1, public water and sewer. PWSD number 3, no private wells. Utilities goal number 2, adequate electrical service. We are on existing Emory 345 corridor, and we will be subject to the large load rate plan. Utilities goal number 3, highest available internet bandwidth. Our project will connect this area of the country to the regional fiber backbone serving the United States. Economic development goal number 1, reverse economy and job creation. Our project will create $17 billion in additional investment. We create 510 permanent jobs once fully constructed, and at minimum $25 million in tax revenue a year. Tonight we are requesting a rezoning to A district, which is consistent with surrounding uses. Adjacent A zoning already exists in pockets immediately north and south of the project site. Our site reflects the City of Pacific Industrial Park and the city's wastewater treatment plant. Already have industrialized neighbors. We're designed to meet all applicable Franklin County data center regulations, and we're one of the few locations along the Ameren transmission corridor within Franklin County that meet the data center ordinance regulations as proposed. So why Merrimack Valley? We mentioned the 345 transmission corridor. These projects cannot go forward without high transmission lines. So there's no way to site an AI data center without being along the existing high voltage corridor. We have direct access to Highway O. We have all the critical utilities needed for our project: public water, sewer, fiber, and transmission. We have 492-acre tract that accommodates all required data center setbacks. So, Ameren's transmission corridors are located in the northeast part of the county. The proposed data center regulations are large parcels that can accommodate large setbacks. Our assemblage can accomplish that. Very few sites in Franklin County can combine the zoning, the parcel size, the transmission access, all is requisite for projects of our type. 40% of our property site will remain undeveloped as buffer area. So more than 200 acres will remain as buffer area, undeveloped, and provide a vegetative buffer between our project and the community. That buffer will remain wooded, landscape setbacks, and we have an inward design, oriented design, so our facilities, generators, and electrical equipment will face each other, providing natural sound attenuation. Setbacks from Highway, we have a 400 feet of buffer around all 365 degrees of our project, and it will be landscaped and wooded with an internal lines of construction. We've been to a number of these meetings. These things go on for hours and hours, and the community is very passionate about Franklin County, and that's positive. We've listened to the comments and concerns that have been levied by the community. They're concerned about water. We're not using private wells to rely on the public utilities. They're concerned about power. Our facility will pay for all of the necessary infrastructure to connect our property, and we will not place upward pressure on power rates. Sound. We're buffered and we're regulated. Our generators will only be tested during the daytime. And you guys have set the sound noise limits. We can't exceed. We can't choose whether or not to adhere to that requirement. That's the law of the land in Franklin County. We will design our systems to meet your sound regulation. So total water usage is limited just to building life safety, toilets, and fire. We'll use between 10,000 and 20,000 gallons per day, equivalent to 50 to 60 residential homes. Our cooling does not draw on potable water. We would like very much to partner with the City of Pacific with their wastewater treatment facility. We would like to invest in that facility $20–25 million is our current estimate to bring it up to modern standards so that it is no longer discharging wastewater into the Merrimack 6 times the allowable. If we can partner with City of Pacific, we'll upgrade the facility, we'll gain access to the discharge, we'll use it for cooling, we'll clean it up, and we'll discharge it within the allowable limits. So we are going to be net positive in the Merrimack River. If we're not able to establish that partnership with City of Pacific and the wastewater treatment facility, we'll use the closed loop or air-cooled technology. So we have what we need as far as will serve and potable, and we would like to maximize the public benefit of our project with partnering with Pacific, but it's not pushing. It's a want, not a need. Electric grid. We hear a lot about this. This is governed by the PUC, but the costs are going to be borne by the project, not Franklin County residents. The project pays for its own electrical infrastructure. We entered into a 12-year service commitment with Ameren. 80% of that is must-have. Any revenues above certain costs are credited back to the grid. So we're putting downward pressure on the utility rates. Project funds grid upgrades that are required to serve our project. These grid upgrades have been deferred over the last 20 years. In absence of our project, those deferred costs will be passed to ratepayers, putting upward pressure on the rate. So we're coming in, we're picking up the bill for divert maintenance on the grid to enable our project. That's helping the community avoid upward pressure. Sadly, the Franklin County Desert Ordinance is thoughtful. It's obvious a lot of time and effort to put into it. We will design our system to meet your sound regulations. We do that through a number of ways. We have an inward-oriented campus. So the backs of our facilities are next to each other, natural sound attenuation. We have significant setbacks. The setbacks are robust and large enough for us to apply with all the noise ordinances, but they're not wasteful, right? They don't leave huge stretches of land that's fallow and not being put to good use. They're robust, but not wasteful. And generator testing is limited to 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. So economic development. It was mentioned here today that community benefits agreements, we often see those used for projects such as ours. I think they're great. CPAs are an excellent tool for counties like Franklin County to memorialize the economic obligations of a project like ours to the community. We would welcome the opportunity to pursue the CPA in Franklin County. As currently contemplated, our project will create $25 million per year in new tax revenue. This flows to schools, fire, EMS, and other districts. We add to the tax base without raising existing residents' rates. We will create 510 permanent jobs and create $64 million in annual local salaries. These are high-skill, high-paying, recurring household roles. During the construction phase, we average 1,900 jobs per year during the 6-year build-out. Our facility has a relatively small municipal service demand relative to the investment size, meaning that we're making a larger investment in our facility, and the services that we require are de minimis. Limited daily traffic and secure on-site operations. Economic impact will impact schools and libraries, public safety, police, fire, EMS, transportation, and infrastructure. All of these align with the comprehensive plan of Franklin County. It's been a long year. It's been a number of long years. We've been at this for almost 10, 11 hours. We appreciate the consideration the commissioners are giving. Each and every person that's come to the heard tonight, including yourselves. And we thank you for taking time to listen, to hear, and we look forward to doing this this evening.
Charles?
This decision is not just about today. It's an opportunity to protect and grow Franklin County's long-term prosperity through a simple principle. This project pays the costs it requires, and Franklin County taxpayers receive the benefits. This project funds the infrastructure, not the existing county residents. In return, Franklin County gains new private investment, new tax revenue for schools and public services, and a broader tax base without placing the burden of growth on local taxpayers. I appreciate the Commission's time and will be specific in my discussion points. We propose a 492-acre campus in unincorporated Franklin County, immediately adjacent to the Pacific Industrial Area and the Pacific Wastewater Treatment Plant, sited along Ameren's existing 345 kilovolt transmission corridor. We chose this site because the county's master plan pointed us here. Its land use, utilities, and economic development goals call for industrial growth, strategic alignment with existing utility infrastructure, and a broader tax base. This application aligns with each. We have heard the community's concerns, and the project includes specific commitments to address it. No groundwater wells will be drilled, and potable water is capped at approximately 50 households worth from PWSD 3. Cooling will use treated effluent from the Pacific's wastewater treatment plant, supported by project investment and plant upgrades that will put cleaner water back into the Merrimack River. Alternatively, the project can use closed-loop air-cooled systems. Generator testing will occur only during weekday daytime hours, and generators will be internally sited. The cost of growth fall on this project, not on residents. The project funds project-specific electrical infrastructure under Missouri's large load tariff, protecting ratepayers, as well as putting in landscape buffers, on-site improvements, and funding water, sewer, and road costs. The project is projected to make a $17 billion initial private investment in Franklin County. Once operational, the development will generate millions in new revenue for Franklin County schools, emergency services, infrastructure, and tax base, and support more than 500 permanent jobs and roughly 1,900 construction jobs annually during build-out. Loudoun County, Virginia, as an example, data centers there now fund nearly $1.3 billion in taxes per year, roughly 45% of the county's revenue, and have funded a residential property tax rate cut every year for a decade, leaving Loudoun homeowners with a rate 40% lower than neighboring counties. This is growth that comes quietly from the past.
Thank you for your testimony. Scott Ramshaw, still here? He's left at this point. Now we will go to those in opposition. And Cindy Reinhardt, Chris Krupinski, Curtis Learheimer, Kevin Ryan, and Lily Ryan, all on that. Cindy Reinhardt here. Cindy Reinhardt? The one raising his hand. Chris Krupinski. Chris Krupinski. Curtis Learheimer.
Hi, I'm Curtis Learheimer. I live on Industry Drive, just in rural Pacific, Missouri. Most of my family's come and spoke. I'm sure that they're going to speak again during this because this is, of course, the application that affects us the most, as we live directly next door to parents' property. Said it before that where I would have built my home, which was something that we've been planning for the last 3 years, would have been within 50 foot of the property line that this is being proposed to be built on. since we discovered this in January, we put everything on a complete hold, and at this point, all of our savings is looking like it's going to have to be put toward us finding somewhere else to live, because there's no way we could have ourselves within 400 feet of industrial buildings in the country. That's not gonna fly. That is not something that we can handle. For one, my wife has health issues that will be affected directly from this. We hear about how it's going to affect all of us, but she has epilepsy. She's already had about 3 times more seizures this year alone, just because of the stress of expecting this happening. I cannot imagine living there with this constantly affecting our daily lives. And with that said, I would like to say a couple things. Mr. Sanders here said that they're going to overall improve the environment. That is, pardon my language, bullshit. You could say that you're going to do whatever you can to clean the water, but for one, to be able to use wastewater in a cooling system, you have to clean that water first. What happens whenever you clean water? You have to put chemicals into it. What happens when you put chemicals in the water? It might be clean for the processing that they have to use it for, but it's still putting stuff in the water that we do not clean the water. Okay, after all of the processing is done, all of the things that go through for them to be able to use it, when it comes back out, it's not drinking water, it's not natural water, it is pollutants. Okay? Last thing.